There is no court today in the Lindsay Clancy trial, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to spend the weekend making some videos. This one is just about to level set some like rumors that are going around, what's true, what's not true, what we just simply haven't seen yet, like what could be upcoming, and what are some things that are probably never going to happen in this trial. Let's start first. If you heard the rumor that there's a TikToker by the name of Emily Thorndike who might actually end up testifying as a witness in the trial, that is correct. Emily Thorndike made a video back on, I think it was day one of the trial when Patrick Clancy was up on the stand. I saw someone sent me that video. I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. Someone sent it to me. I watched it, and there was a number of us that reposted it. It's a very important video. I suggest you go watch it. Emily used to work at McLean Hospital, and she tells a very different story than what the prosecution was painting that first day with Patrick. Now, I'm sure Emily probably has something more to say about the testimony yesterday of Dr. Goodhart and Dr. Tufts. Dr. Goodhart described the situation where there was always four-man teams, and that there was basically an army of caregivers, but that's not what Emily is saying. On a weekend, especially a holiday weekend, like when Lindsay was there, that it's a pretty lean crew. And you're lucky if the doctor kind of comes around every 15 minutes and essentially looks in your window and goes, yep, okay, we're good, and just keeps moving. There really isn't a lot of consultation that's happening. Kevin Reddington has filed a motion to add her to the witness list. We don't know if this is going to fly. The prosecution might have some very good reasons. The number one being is that Emily no longer works there. So they might be able to say, well, things have changed, like McLean's staffing model has changed. There might be reasons that she doesn't get to testify, but let's wait and see. Maybe she will. The second rumor that seems to be running rampant is that Patrick Clancy was never investigated, and that could not be further from the truth. The spouse is one of the top suspects every time something happens. Patrick was not only investigated, but his alibi consists of a minute-to-minute timeline that is absolutely verifiable through video surveillance, phone calls, eyewitness accounts, purchase receipts, email data, GPS tracking. This is probably one of the most solid alibis I've seen in a really long time. They built an entire timeline. Police went out and drove the same route. They collected all the video cameras. Every single minute of his evening is accounted for, and it is 100% verifiable. He was not home when his children were killed. There was one adult in the home at the time, and she is saying she is accountable for the deaths of the children. I know that he recently got remarried in April of 2026. So just a few months ago, he was remarried. And I know that upsets a lot of people, but that's not illegal. And any time during their relationship or during this ramp up of Lindsay's illnesses, if there were times where he wasn't maybe as attentive as you thought he should be, or he didn't take her to enough doctors, or didn't ask the right questions, or wasn't inquisitive enough, or he left her alone with the kids, those are all burdens he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. He lost his children. I don't see any time or place or any reason for Patrick Clancy to be charged with anything. There's nothing he's done that's broken the law. There's a lot of discourse about, well, then explain how her body temperature dropped so much in such a short period of time. And I know a lot of people are kind of comparing it to John O'Keefe. Two very different stories. Go see Dr. Amy for this one, but let me paraphrase what she's going to tell you in her videos. Lindsay Clancy was a small person. In fact, one of the witnesses on Friday described her, she'd lost so much weight that she was almost frail. So she's thin to the point of being frail looking. She was not dressed for the winter weather, and her clothes were soaking wet from her own blood. Never mind that she had a significant spinal injury, and she had numerous medicines in her system. These are all things that can cause the body temperature, the blood pressure, and the body temperature to drop dramatically. Okay. I do believe there will be one of the defense witnesses. There will be defense witnesses that step up to the stand, especially if Reddington gets his way and he gets to put in those 4 other witnesses. If they are able to come in, they're going to explain a lot of this to us, right? And they're going to make it very, very, very clear. Here's exactly how it happened, because it doesn't do them any good to try and pin this on somebody else. They want to prove that this was a suicide attempt, and the extent of her injuries and the danger she put herself in, and the fact that she coded at the hospital shows that she was very serious about what she intended to do because she was suffering from psychosis. That is their defense. They're not going to bring up a witness that's going to try and disprove something they've been working so hard to settle. I think those of us that are supporting Lindsay Clancy have been accused of being like, well, you weren't like this when it was Jeffrey Dahmer, and you weren't like this when it was Chris Watts. For starters, Chris Watts pleaded guilty. He pleaded guilty because he knew he'd done it, and he didn't want the death penalty. He only pleaded guilty because he was scared shitless of being put to death. So that's an entirely different story. And any type of mental evaluation that he underwent, he passed with flying colors. He was just simply a violent, creepy, horrible fucking monster. He was. Jeffrey Dahmer did put forth an insanity plea. Now, in the state of Wisconsin, they do things slightly different, and this is what they tried to do here. There's the kind of the two-parter case, right? Did they do it? And then were they insane at the time they did it? In Wisconsin, they were able to say when he said, I did it, but I was insane at the time. In the state of Wisconsin, they said, okay, well, let's just, since he's already admitted it, let's just skip past this first part of the trial that has to prove he did it. We know he did it. He admitted it. Let's skip past that. And let's go straight to the part where we talk about his sanity. He sat through a trial with a jury, but this jury did not find the medical and psychiatric evidence to be compelling enough. So they found him guilty, not by reason of insanity, guilty. And he went to prison. And people keep asking about the significance of the Apple Watch. In this case, to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't know what Reddington has up his sleeve. It is possible. She wasn't wearing it. It was found in the nightstand. But I am wondering if he has something. Does he have some data from like the previous weeks that might tell him something? I do not know. But normally, if you're uninitiated in the world of Apple Watches, I sort of am too, but there's a lot of different functionality. I have one and I don't use it for a tenth of its capacity, but you can turn on all the different functionality. There's health data, which includes things like your heart rate, EKG, blood pressure. You can breathing patterns, like sleeping patterns. There's a sleep score. There's GPS information. There's notifications of appointments, time to take your medicine. There's all kinds of different things. Lindsay probably would have thrived in this world, and my guess is that she probably would have had a lot of that functionality in place. And then, of course, because it's like your phone, it downloads and it goes up to the cloud. So a lot of it is saved and could be necessary in some of these cases to tell where a person was, what was their heart rate at the time that this was happening, those types of things.